Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. I have a great session in front of me because I am going to be sipping on our new Lao Cha To. For those of you who don't know what Lao Cha To is, Lao Cha To, aka Nugs of Joy at our house, basically translates as old tea head. And what happens during the ripening process of pu'er tea, so this is a shu cha or a ripened pu'er tea, also known as a hei cha, which basically is a catch-all phrase to mean all ripened fermented teas. You're taking the pickings, or the producer is, and piling them up in a temperature-controlled warehouse and covering them with about 30% water. And then they're left in these piles to ferment. So the natural mycelium, the natural microorganisms, the natural bacteria in the leaves or on the leaves, and also seeded on the floor of this warehouse. And also they'll sprinkle a little bit of old ripened tea on the base sometimes to make sure that you get the right culture of mycelium and bacteria, microorganisms, to allow for the right kind of fermentation. Because if you've smelt some bad ripe pu'er, you know there's a lot of wrong fermentation out there. And then the producer will come in every few days, check the temperature, or every day they'll be checking the temperature, but every few days they'll be raking the leaves and making new piles. So they'll be taking the leaves from the top and putting them at the bottom of the pile, and the leaves at the bottom will have a chance to be at the top of the pile. And that way they can get an even fermentation. And again, very important that they encourage the right culture of microorganisms to make the right taste of tea. And naturally during this process, there are some leaves that are a little bit juicier, and there are some extra mycelium activity that causes these clumps to develop, these nugs, aka Lao Cha To. And the producer, once the tea is finished its fermentation phase, will pick off these nugs first, because these are sold separately from the rest of the loose tea, which is then either sold loose or sold as cakes, compressed for the seller out there. So here we have Lao Cha To. Let's quickly scope this tea. This is from May 2017. The cultivar is the Daiyezhong variety. The origin of this is from Mengku, Linsang in China. And Mengku in Yunnan just has a certain sort of hallowed character about it. People really know about this. People who know pu'er, when you say Mengku, there's a certain something that happens in the head. I think that there's an association with Mengku with very potent, very powerful teas, both in terms of taste, but also in terms of body sensation. They just seem to be deeper, richer, and just have more potency about them. So I'm very excited to taste this tea today. The picking and processing is going to be a bud up to third leaf, but usually younger leaves. And as I said, it goes through that fermentation phase to create these natural tea heads, these natural old tea heads, or Lao Cha To, or nugs as we call them at our place. Elevation on this is around 1,800 meters, so high up. So we've had nug bake before, then we've had 2 batches of nug berry. I am not sure whether or not this is going to be a nug berry or not, because this is the first time I'm tasting it since it's arrived. So I don't know. We always determine the name of the tea is dependent upon whether or not it fits within the same sort of character and flavor profile as our previous batches. So we'll taste this tea. It'll either be a nug berry or it will be a new tea. But you can see the look of these leaves. I mean, these are nice, hunky, chunky nugs. There's a lot of sort of discussion about should Lao Cha To nugs be smaller or be larger. In my experience, you'll often get a mix like this. You'll get sort of smaller ones and larger ones. But you want nice, solid, whole, and you want them to feel solid, not when they're dry. You don't want to be able to compress them too much, because the point of these nugs is that you want that really, really dense concentration of flavor. And you also want to make sure that they're going to have a longevity. And we sort of call these nugs immortal tea, because you'll often get 20, 30 infusions out of these nugs. They are so rich and so potent, and they take a long time to infuse. So you really want to have these dense nugs so you get really lots and lots of infusions out of them. Now, what can go wrong with Lao Cha To? With Lao Cha To, it's like for me a concentration of the ripened taste, the taste of the ripened tea. Obviously, because it's compressed, so you're getting a lot of leaf in a small volume, but also because you're getting the juicier leaves and you're getting more of that mycelium action and just more fermentation. And so it sort of represents the absolute apex of the taste of the ripened tea. And therefore, if you have the wrong mycelium, the wrong culture, if the fermentation hasn't been done right, then you will find out very, very quickly in the Lao Cha To. The Lao Cha To is a great litmus test for the rest of the batch, because oftentimes Lao Cha Tos can taste too funky. If the fermentation isn't right, it can just taste too fermented, too musty, potentially fishy. It can just have an off taste about it. And so while I love this tea very, very much, I love Lao Cha To. I really love Lao Cha To. I mean, if you're at my place, you'll see that Lao Cha To is in continuous rotation at our place. So I love Lao Cha To so much, but the sampling of Lao Cha To, I'm not particularly, is not one that fills me with joy, because I know I'm going to have to probably taste a lot of duds, and those duds are going to be a little bit of a wincing moment as I sample some Lao Cha Tos that just provide a very concentrated picture of the fermentation process. I'm brewing in our fountain, Zerni fountain Gaiwan. So I'm going to put those 3 nugs in. You see? Because I know that that's going to expand. Okay. So Lao Cha To, our newest batch from Mengku. Our previous batch, I believe, was from Ban Pen. So different area, Mengku potion. I always associate Mengku with potion tea. So maybe this is nug potion or something. Here we go. Let's smell. Ah, so deep, so rich. Oh my gosh. Can we just pause the video and I just want to sit and smell these nugs? Oh, wow. What am I getting? Okay, so much. I just have to take one thing at a time. I'm getting dark ginger cake. You know, those Jamaican ginger cakes, dark ginger cake. I'm getting brown sugar. I'm getting some prunes that are covered in chocolate or chocolate covered dates. I'm getting some rum, a definite alcohol ferment going on here. I'm picking up those alcoholic notes. So I'm going to talk about dark spiced rums, brown sugar, butterscotch. I mean, it's first smell, it's different from nugberry. Nugberry was fruitier and creamier on the nose. This is caramel and rum. It's like taking, those dark brown liquors, brown caramels, butterscotch, chocolate covered dates. So good, so good. Give them a rinse. Oh, so good. I'm super excited. I was already excited, but not a whiff of anything like funky or, it is just straight up concentrated, ripe, pure heaven in this Gaiwan right now. Okay, smell of the wet. Oh, freshened up a bit, but I mean, it is just bringing out more of those alcohol notes. I'm getting like rum-soaked prunes. A bit of creaminess is coming through though. So I'm getting like butter toffee, and that toffee also has some licorice. So it's, licorice toffee, but I'll just separate it out. Butter toffee, licorice, make my life difficult otherwise trying to find licorice toffees when I'm searching for these images. A slight savory note is happening as well. A little bit of a sort of sweet soy note to it. Look at them glistening away. Oh, I know. I just know this is going to be a mega session. Yeah, so that butter toffee is probably the best way to describe that creamy note. But there is definitely cream in here. You could even say it reminds me of wheat flakes, like wheat cereal. So wheat flakes, very whole wheat flakes, you know, none of this sort of blonde, you know, overly refined, like almost like wheat germ, wheat flakes with a very, very full fat milk. I'm also picking up a little vegetal note in there, which I would associate with very, very sweet, glazed, long roasted carrots, like purple carrots. I'm smelling those anthocyanins, those purple compounds that naturally form in plants and in vegetables. And it's that, you know, carrots, I'm not a massive fan of carrots, but when you roast them so that they almost become sort of like slightly dried up, they've become so concentrated. I'm picking up that, but sort of roasted purple carrots. Good luck, Don, future Don, trying to find a picture of that. All right, then we're going to brew this up. Now, brewing it at boiling point water and first infusion, you're going to have to leave it a bit, of course. There needs time for the water to get into those nugs. And as I said, my expectation is that you're going to get loads and loads of infusions to the point where you're probably going to give up drinking before the tea gives up. Generally, I've heard people say that they've taken a session and they've spanned it over about 3 or 4 days of just continuous brewing. So that shows you. Now, hopefully this has the same longevity. I'm not going to be able to go through 20 infusions in front of you here, but I will obviously put all the brewing notes and infusion notes on the website, so you can go check out once I do more tests with this tea. Which I'm thinking currently right now cannot be called nugberry. Oh, a little herbal note coming through. Trying to work out which herb, but Chinese herbal note is happening as well. I will throw my classic in, which is dungui. But it's almost like chocolate covered, candied herbal note. Nug candy? Anyway. Color of the liquor, beautiful. Let's just say that. Deep chestnut, brown orange. Okay, cheers everybody. Mouthfeel at the moment I would say is medium thick. Soft, very, very soft. Creamy, vaporous. Very vaporous. It'll probably thicken up as the water moves into the nugs. Taste is joy. And it's definitely not a nugberry. Picking up those chocolate notes. Chocolate covered prunes. Plum brandy. So that alcoholic ferment note, there won't be any alcohol in it, but it's got the character of the aroma of ferments like alcohol. So I would say plum brandy. Some spices, those herbal notes are moving fresher, like a fennel seed sweetness. Could even maybe say caraway, but I would say mostly fennel seeds. It's just opening up. Getting a little touch of coffee. A little bit of licorice. Said that already. Sandalwood. Sandalwood incense. It doesn't have the burnt quality, so just like if you smelt a sandalwood incense stick without burning it. But spiced, aromatic, deep, rich, dare I say it, almost medicinal or potion-like. You know, it's that heady aroma of incense and spices and brandies and rums and dried fruits, and it's just this. It makes me like the vision. If I was going to make a cake of it, would be this would be in a sort of a beautiful little cellar-like, dark, candle-lit, cavernous area where you've got plush, comfortable sofas, and you're having like a sort of ceremonial sort of potion, like some underground like potion ceremony. This has the Monku potion quality to it that I love. Yeah, like a wine cellar, slightly winey and cellar-like. A little bit of that dusty cellar smell is coming through as well. Oh, tea with character in droves. All right. I like to pour the water direct on the nugs. Try and just get that water in there. Caramel. Licorice caramel. Fennel seed caramel. Mega first infusion. Body sensation on this, I think, is going to be great. Let's just see. I'm getting ahead of myself, but you get to get a sense of these things. I'm sure those of you who drink a lot of tea will know what I mean. Chachi is not something that you wait for. Let's put it that way. Like chachi, yes, okay. Let me rephrase that. Chachi reveals itself in stages, but you can pick up a lot of the chachi or the tea energy or how it's going to make you feel. It does that from the first sip. It's an energetic thing. Trigger word, I know, but for me it is. There's something in the character of the tea that when it hits your mouth, you very quickly feel it. Your body responds to it before your body's had a chance to absorb all of the pharmacological compounds in the tea itself that's going to affect you, like the caffeine and the theanine and all the rest of it. Before that, of course, there might be some absorption sublingually, but there's something just in the character of the tea, and I could do a whole video about this because I've been studying a lot about this. But let's just say that there are interactions that happen between the tea and your body that happen prior to gut absorption, and I am already feeling this tingly sensation on the top of my head, a rising heating sensation. Of course, there is a temperature change that's happening in my body as I'm drinking this tea, but it's more than that. I'm feeling this rising, fizzing feeling. This is a potion. Oh, the taste is so good. It's thick now. It's soft. It's smooth. It's aromatic. It's vaporous. I mean, it's every kind of adjective that I want to speak about when I talk about ripe pu'er teas. It's comforting yet powerful. It's edgy yet indulgent. I mean, the flavor notes are just intensified. Chocolate-covered dates, rum-soaked prunes, brandy liquor, wine cellars, caramel, licorice, fennel seed, those herbal notes, the cellar notes, a little bit of those wheat flakes, cereal notes. It's dense with flavor. It's dense, and look at how these nugs have expanded up already. Oh my God, date syrup. Nugs of joy. Mega tea. You know what's going on in my head? It's like, this is potentially tea of the year after 2 infusions for me. It's like, whenever I taste teas, I'm always like, there's always this little, I'm always, looking out for those teas that are so like that just cause such a reaction in me that I'm like, okay, that's a contender for my top 5, teas of the year. This is in there. Date syrup, as I said before, charred casks, bourbon casks, touch of vanilla, sticky toffee pudding with the dates, a proper deep dark one, treacle. I love this tea so much. I just want to take, it's so thick and creamy. I want to take this tea, this big batch of tea, I want to put it all away in Zersha containers, and I want to wipe this video and I'll keep it all for myself. That's how I feel about this tea, genuinely. It's so rich. Okay, I'm gonna roll through some infusions and calm down a little bit so that I can give you an idea of body sensation. I am brewing up the 6th infusion, so I have not had many infusions. And the reason is because the body sensation on this is intense, it is amazing, and I just need to, I can't drink too much right now. I want this tea to last forever, both in terms of taste and in terms of body sensation. Let's talk about body sensation. It is a very special tea, this one, in terms of body sensation. It gives me everything that I love out of a body sensation of tea, but somehow combines them in a beautiful way. It's on the one hand, warm and comforting and settling. So that ripe, pure character is in full effect. But then it is rising, it is swirling, it is moving. It feels like it's mood enhancing. It makes me feel like I want to grin from ear to ear. It's like this rush of endorphins. Now I have to separate out my happiness because, this is a tea which has just arrived in, and I'm super happy that we have it because I love it so much. So I've got to try to take that and calm it down a bit and just sort of assess the body sensation. But I am convinced it is a feel-good tea. And it makes my face and my head tingle in the most amazing way. It's like I've had I've put my head under freezing cold water, and then you take it out and it's just like this circulation is just buzzing around. It's such and tingly, all tingly around my head, like really sensitive. How to describe it? Okay, kids, look away now. But it's like I've run a marathon, right? Which I've never done, but imagining I run a marathon, I've reached the finish line reached that finish line, and you just get this rush of endorphins, this rush of happiness and satisfaction and energy that comes. And then somebody says, well done, here's your sash. And then they open your mouth and they take a dab of MDMA and they just dab it under your tongue, just a dab. So you're getting this this just tingly, everything is just enhanced. It is a potion. Nug potion. It doesn't sound very good. I don't know. Maybe. Something like that. This is Munku in full effect. It is the reason why Munku teas, when you find a good one, man, they hit the spot. And when you concentrate that into a ripened form and into a nug form, I never want this tea to leave my cupboard. I'm already slightly panicking about how much tea I need to reserve. Run, don't walk, people. This tea is mega. It is mega. Aftertaste, slightly salty to sweet. Reminds me of preserved plums, salted plums. Not that salty, but that like if you've taken a salted plum and you rinsed away a lot of the salt, so it's got that slightly saline to sweet, long, vaporous, preserved plum and caramel sweetness. I mean, genuinely, for sure, top 5 teas that I've tasted this year. And genuinely, like, I just want to keep it all. It's the problem when you love tea and you're a tea seller. But do I have to say any more? One last sip of these nugs, which are going to be brewed throughout the day. Take a look at them. Still feel pretty dense inside. That one feels very dense inside. So some will brew out faster than others, but that feels like that's not even started. And you can see the color of this liquor. 6 infusions, the color of that liquor, this is gonna go on and on and on and on and on, and I love that. Happy days. That's it, tea heads. Check out other videos, taste our teas wherever you are in the world by browsing mayleaf.com, and come visit us if you're ever in London. Other than that, I am a tea drunk Don from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from those tea bags. Keep drinking the sublime stuff and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.